Alright, this is the first video of a build series on this bike. This is a 1950 BSA B33. It was bobbed probably sometime in the 60s, customized here in this green metallic paint. It was owned by a guy called Candyman, and he was from North Hollywood. We think he was a drug dealer because, well, his name was Candyman. The bike has a rear light cutoff switch here, so when he's escaping from the cops, they can't find him. The bike came with a leather jacket that was full of strip club matches. Now, I had been after this bike for about 5 years before I owned it. A friend of mine had found it in a dilapidated garage in Hollywood. I begged him to let me get it from him, and he finally let me. So I'm going to keep this pretty much as a period correct bobber. I had to find some foot pegs, and I found a Zerwas side stand to put on it so I don't have to use a center stand. Last registered in '68. It's got a BT&E taillight on it. I put these Hellings bars on it, but otherwise it's pretty much as found. So what are my plans? Well, like I said, I want to keep it as is, and I want to fix it up and go through the whole thing. But I also think I'm going to ride this in the Biltwell this year, or at least attempt to. I want to try something a little different. I mean, if you can't go fast, go slow. I'm going to remove the lights. I might put a high pipe on it. Put some new tires on it. Also, I'm not going to use these bars. They'll fold probably pretty quick. So I'm going to put on some sort of cross brace bar of some sort. Something strong and wide. Wide is always good for stability. I might even come up with a little kind of riser system here that puts the bar connection point to about right there. And then I can also connect it to the yoke for extra stability. But otherwise, I think I'm going to run it as is. The first thing I'm going to do is pull the tank off and clean up the motor and carb again. I think the tank was full of rust, so it just clogged that carb. I need to get a few things like a magneto cable, and I need to fix the kickstart. I'm just going to kind of strip it down a little bit for off-road use, and then when I ride it on the street, I'll put the lights back on. I don't think the plunger moves at all, so that must be frozen up. Take the forks apart, change all the bushings and get new oil in there, put new wheel bearings in, new tires. I think I'm going to get a Gold Star high pipe. Putting a filter on here is going to be more of a problem than I thought, because it hits right here at the oil tank. I'll have to figure out something for that. I'm going to have the seat recovered in leather and the P-pad. Yeah, I think the foot peg is going to be pretty challenging. There's no real good place to put it. I mean, if anything, it's easier on this side. On this side, we have the entire primary outer cover, and there's just really nowhere to come from. I might just have to live with the stock location. I really don't want rigid foot pegs, though. I'm going to have to build some sort of front fender system here, and I might come down. And I think I'm going to come down with sort of a little kind of aluminum perforated front guard here. I'm going to have to build some sort of actually pretty long bash plate, because there's a lot of stuff that sticks down below that sump I do not want to hit a rock with. Okay, a couple problems we need to fix right off the bat is, well, this is what happened to the kickstart lever last time I used it. It cracked. That's going to be a kind of a painful repair, because that spot's always going to be kind of weak now. But maybe I won't even fix this, because I think if I'm going to ride this off-road, I need a folding version of this. You don't want this thing sticking out the side when you're falling. Also, the foot pegs, I had to find these, but now I think I'm going to look for another kind of junk pair so I can make a set of folding ones, because these things will bend the second you fall. The Magneto Advanced retard lever here, cable broke. So I need to replace that. Actually, I need to replace all the cables. Compression release, brake, clutch, etc., etc. But I think this thing is going to run. It ran really easy last time. So that's the first thing we need to do. Get this thing running. After that, I can start cleaning it up and removing things. Well, I spent quite a while on this trying to get it back to shape. And I just suddenly realized maybe I have something in my box of spares. I found this guy. It's a little bit different than the normal Triumph Kickstarter. I'm not sure what model this is from, but hey, all I had to do was kind of shave about 1 millimeter off the back, and I had to sand out the inside to get more clearance, and it fits like a glove pretty much. So now I have a folding Kickstarter. Might bend it up just a little bit more, get it tucked in there a little bit more. But check this out. I just removed the spark plug. Gosh, it's so bright for me, but I don't know if you can see it. Nice and bright. Alright, I'm pretty sure this thing would start if I sprayed some carburetor cleaner in it. Alrighty, now that I know I have spark and it'll probably run, I need a way to change the advance here. So this is the cable that broke and I need to replace. So the Candyman relocated it here to the frame. So this is just a advance and retard lever, but the cable broke. But I can still use this piece of cable and manually change it in and out. I have all the pieces and parts from when it broke, so I'll just use these. Okay, it's rudimentary, but now I have something I can adjust the advance with. That to start it. Onward to the carburetor. So this thing is probably going to just be filled with rusty gas sediment, because that's why it kind of stopped running, because the gas tank still had a whole bunch of sediment. It was going right through the filter. So I'll take this apart, rebuild it, pop it back on. I expect it to run right away. I opened up the float bowl and there's a lot of sediment in there. I'm going to assume that all the jets are completely clogged. So I'm going to tear this apart and see what I'm dealing with. The filter. It is clogged. Ugh. Have to work on getting that out. Wow, the main jet is just caked. Alright, I'm going to let this stuff soak for a little while. I wish I had a ultrasonic. I used to have one, but I don't know what happened to it. We'll get all this stuff in, let it sit for about an hour, pull the aluminum out, and let the rest of the jets and everything kind of soak longer. Alright, carburetor's completely reassembled. I have my auxiliary fuel tank hooked up. Spent some time getting the throttle to work a little better. It's one of those finicky ones. Okay, just passed. Give her a kick. I think it might be flooded. Let's do something. Okay, let's try this again. Try pulling on the magneto. Careful, the foam from the seat is bleeding right down into the carburetor. I'm also trying to remember where the advanced retard cable likes to be to run. I think it's about halfway. I don't really have a way to keep it there without holding in position. Success! I guess I should have checked to see if oil was coming out, huh? Let me do that right now. quite a beast. They smell completely different than a Triumph. They have their own unique smell. It smells like early industrial smell. Early 1900s. Maybe I'll go take it for a little test ride. Okay, I added the auxiliary fuel tank and kind of tied back some of the extra hose. Add a little bit more oil, good old VR1 2050. I did not do anything about the primary. It's dry as a bone. I'm not going to worry about it too much. Let's go see how this thing does. It's definitely not ready for prime time. I can't figure out where to put the magneto, or well, I guess it's the advanced retard cable. I can't figure out if it's middle, all the way out, all the way in. Everything seems to have a different effect while I'm riding. It all wants to just kind of stall. So I need to figure out what's going on. But overall, those are just small little problems. It runs, and that's good. Alright, I'm going to kind of play with it a little bit more and see if I can't figure out how to get the settings a little bit better. I'm just going to go ahead and order new cables and things like that and do some more test riding. But after that, the next plan is to just start tearing it apart because there's like zero suspension. It doesn't even move. So I just need to get it down, start cleaning it up, replace gaskets, all that fun stuff. And then we get to start working on customizations. Alright, till next time.